Nice!
Hey YouTubers, Grimmy here, and this is the video review for the Power Rangers DinoCharge Megazord. A new year, which means a new Power Rangers series. This time we're looking into DinoCharge, which was Kyoryuger in Japan a couple years ago. And, you know, as typical, when Bandai America releases a Power Ranger Megazord, they do a completely new sculpt from scratch on the Megazord itself. Which is good and bad. Good because it lowers the cost. You know, it's considerably cheaper than what you would get if you had to use the Japanese mold. But bad because it's not quite as good as the Japanese mold. But here we go. The Megazord includes the Tyrannozord, the Tricerazord, and the Stegozord. So you got 3 Zords to work with. You know, pretty basic. Kyoryuger had the same thing with only 3 Zords, or 3 mechs included. Gabatira, Dressira, and Stegachi. So, that's fine. You know, having 3 Zords is fine. And especially considering that the Tyrannozord is gigantic. I mean, this thing is pretty much the main body and the legs and everything. So, it's huge. And when you take it out of the box, you actually have to attach these gigantic feet to it because they would not fit together on the box. So yeah, there's a lot to this guy. Now, included is 1 battery, which is for the Tyranno. Yeah, it says Tyrannosaurus Rex on the back. And, let's see if I can get a closer look. So, you know, it's just saying 1, has a picture of the T-Rex. It says Tyrannosaurus Rex on the other side. Has a QR code for a mobile game. And has this nice little feature where it will seem to fade in and out to various styles. Now, the Japanese version just had 2 different types. One of them glue in the dark, the other had like a foil effect. This one has 4 sides to try to show a transition between the 2 types, which is pretty cool. But much like the Japanese version, inserting these will activate special effects, like for the T-Rex, it will just bring out these little frills. And not much. The Japanese version had tons of sound effects to it, with music, the whole bit. Again, this is much cheaper. Okay, that's gonna be the main thing. This is a lot cheaper than the Japanese version, although I kind of want to get the Japanese version myself. For Stegozord, just pop it in. Oops. You actually get this blade coming out. Now, unfortunately, they can't swallow the battery entirely like the Japanese toys could. But you still got options. And if you don't want to use the battery, there's a little slider at the bottom, which you can use to bring the blade out or trigger any of the effects. So you don't even need the battery to do this. For Tricerazord, same thing. Pop in the battery, extends the tail just a little bit. Nice silver tail. And you can just pull the latch back on the bottom to bring it in. Now, the Japanese version, you had this little arm where these two spikes would go to the back and join with the tail for Megazord mode. Not the case here, but what this has that the Japanese version didn't have, this part's removable. So it can actually be interchanged with, say, the Stegazord. So you can actually mix and match these two to create very weird looking dinosaurs with odd combined action features. So there are some play values to it. Now, while this is technically compatible with the new Zord Builder Zord Builder technology, it's not quite as compatible as past Megazords because all the Zord Builder ports are in the T-Rex. Just the nature of how Kyoryuger worked, it didn't translate well into the Zord Builder gimmick. So there were some limitations. Still, these are alright. I kind of wish they were painted better. The paint jobs are there, but kind of lacking. So yeah, it's the main selling point is that these are cheaper. So that's where I want to have to go with it. You know, if I didn't see what Kyoryugen looked like, I might be a little bit more supportive of this guy. But as it stands, it's okay. It's not great, but it's still okay. I do like how big the Tyrannosaurus Zord is. I do like the way they look. I think it is nice. I just kind of want to get that Japanese version. Okay, but review's not over, so let's take a look at the Megazord mode, see if that looks better. Okay, now we got the DinoCharge Megazord fully formed. He looks pretty good. I mean, I'll give it to him. They got the look down pretty well. I'm just still kind of harping on that. How it compares to the Japanese version, it's just... I saw all the bells and whistles that thing had, and it just makes this one kind of pale in comparison. So I'm going to be kind of gloomy on that, but, you know, on its own merits, it's not bad. It's a typical Sentai mech, or Power Ranger Megazord. So, posability, it's a brick, only has the forward-backward movement on the arms. Pretty standard stuff. A nitpick I have is that the Tricerazord can only fit on the left side, because the horns will collide with the lower jaw of the Tyrannosaurus otherwise. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Now, for his weapon, he does have this really cool looking sword with a serrated edge and then the blade at the top, which you can't even see because it's so big. And yeah, I mean, this guy's big. I like that. So there are definitely some positives to him. He's a nice big bulky Zord. He'll be fun for the little kiddies to play with. So there's nothing wrong with it. And got the drill arm, looks pretty cool. And the head sculpt, let me get that in. And head and helmet look really cool. I liked all the frills on there. I like that the helmet's a separate piece and you got this interestingly painted face, which looks pretty cool. I wish there was more that could have been done with the tail. Like, I think if they actually made that a shield, it would have been a lot better. But as it stands, it can only fit on the back. And okay, let's try that again. Yeah, this tail thing on the back, I wish it was made into a shield. So there's that. So why don't we get some comparisons in? And we'll start with this guy right here. Something from the US, Transformers Combiner Wars Superion. In case you want to know how well Power Ranger Megazords compare with Combiners, there you have your answer. But now that that's out of the way, let's bring in the last one that was released, the Legendary Megazord. So as you can see, they scale pretty well together. Since this one does have Zord Builder technology on his shoulders, you can actually swap the arms. To give him that kind of look. Although, okay, there you can. I think. Yeah, here we go. And you can even swap the DinoCharge arms onto the Legendary Megazord to create some interesting looks. Unfortunately, those big bulky parts will interfere with the movement on the arms, making him even more brick-like than what he was before. But this guy has unaffected articulation-wise, but his arms do seem a little stubby in comparison. Yeah, I mean, the gimmick's there. It doesn't work for the legs, just due to how the legs are. And yes, the arm connections are a little on the weak side. But yeah, I mean, let's see, I guess for the next comparison, we'll bring in what's coming out, will be in US in a couple years, Shurikenjin. It will probably be just called the Shuriken Megazord, I don't know for certain, but that's a theory. So you can see, it does scale well with the Japanese stuff, but it is a little shorter. Unfortunately, I don't have Kyoryujin to compare them to. Kind of wish I did, but yeah, I mean, all in all, if you got kids who are into Power Rangers, they'll love it. They'll enjoy it. And for collectors or guys who are into the Japanese Sentai series, you can skip this one and just go for the Japanese version. Unless you really love the Zord Builder gimmick or just want to get everything. Which is fine. That's for you. But, yeah. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little review. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Leave a like. Subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. So take care, have fun, and bye-bye.